The Institute of Education The Institute of Education, Department of Graduate Studies and Transnational Education brings you to our eighth graduate online and academic lecture series on education specials. So I am Chini, and let me be your moderator in this lecture. Today, we will see the inside life of our teachers by looking at them and looking at them without overcoats. Metaphorically, we speak of this overcoat as their profession, which we see among them up front. As we know, teaching is a many-sided profession requiring teachers to become adept not only in front of the classes, but also in handling other demands above their responsibilities as teacher. As we celebrate the World Teachers Month, we intend to share on the other responsibilities of the overcoat that overcoat those that we call our modern day superheroes. So in this lecture on education specials, we look at teachers as learning enthusiasts, an agent of organization and management. And to officially welcome you and open this event, I now bring you the Dean of our Institute, Dr. Harold Jan Colala.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chini. Dr. Chini is our chairperson of the Institute of Education Transnational Graduate Studies and Transnational Education. To our attendees in the Microsoft Live event and our viewers on Facebook and YouTube streams, thank you for joining us today in the 8th Graduate Online Academic Lecture Series on Special Topics in Education. Kamusta ho kayong lahat? Sana kayo po ay nasa mabuting kalagayan ngayon. Today, our special topic is teachers with overcoats, responding to one's roles beyond teaching. Also, we give special thanks to FEU Roosevelt principals, deans, and faculty for joining us today. Kamusta po kayo dyan sa ating kasamahan sa FEU Roosevelt? Thank you for joining us today. It is my honor to welcome you and give an overview of this lecture. The topics in this lecture series are from theories, research, and relevant experiences, a reflection of our commitment to relevant and research-based instruction, being a center of excellence in teacher education awarded by the Commission on Higher Education. Because of this, we aspire to continuously provide free lectures through our speakers who are highly competent and fully committed to providing excellent learning experiences. As FEU Institute of Education joins UNESCO in celebrating World Teachers Month, this lecture is an attempt to respond to the theme, and I quote, "Teachers leading in crisis, reimagining the future by showing you the roles of teachers beyond four corners of the classroom." Now, let me give you more information about our two featured speakers. Our first speaker, Dr. Marites Regalia, will lecture on teachers as students. She will share on how teachers can manage the demand of working and studying at the same time. Our first speaker holds a degree of Doctor of Education, major in Industrial Education Management. She teaches in the graduate and undergraduate departments of the Institute of Education. She specializes on school legislation, advanced studies in curriculum instruction, and educational administration. Our second speaker, Dr. Arnel Bravo, will lecture on teachers as managers. As one of the FEU administrators, he will offer his experiences and advice on how teachers can become better as school managers. Our second speaker holds a degree on Doctor of Education, major in Educational Management. He's currently the General Education Director of Far Eastern University and a faculty of the Institute of Education Graduate Studies. He specializes on instructional pedagogy for specific disciplines, advanced communication skills for school managers, ethics of leadership and governance. Dr. Regalia and Dr. Arnel Thank you in advance for joining us today in this education specials, which is our tribute to our teachers who are our modern day heroes. Once again, I welcome you all to this lecture, which is our commitment to delivering quality education. Now, let us start viewing this multifaceted life of teachers by removing their teaching overcoats. Let me now turn over the floor to Dr. Marites Regalia to give us the understanding about teachers as lifelong learners. Magandang hapon sa inyong lahat.
Good afternoon. So I'm Dr. Marites Regalia, and I will be sharing about the topic on this lecture series on education specials. How to handle two different roles. So I'll be focusing on teachers as students. So creating an amazing life must happen from the inside out. Most of us are too caught up in external circumstances to create the kind of life we want. Realize that the outer world is changed by changing your inner world. So we can handle two different worlds. It's just a matter of self-discipline. In today's lecture, I would like to share my secrets which enable me to handle two different worlds, as a teacher and as a student. Your inner world. So we can handle two different worlds. It's just a matter of self-discipline. In today's lecture, some of us are building from scratch. I myself started from scratch. I'm a working student at the age of 11. That's grade 5. I have no rich parents. I have no connections, no assistance, no excuses. I only have hard work, consistency, desire, and focus. Hard work. This is my first principle. I earn my successes through hard work. Life is not a brief candle, and success is no accident. It is hard work and loving what you are doing. Hard work earns success. Let me share with you a short story about hard work. The title is The Elephant Rope. A man was walking nearby to a group of elephants that was halted by a small rope tied to their front leg. He was amazed by the fact that the huge elephants are not even making an attempt to break the rope and set themselves free. And then he saw an elephant trainer standing beside them, and he expressed his puzzled state of mind. When they are very young and much smaller, we use the same size rope to tie them. And at that age, it's enough to hold them. As they grow up, they are conditioned to believe they cannot break away. And they believe that rope can still hold them, so they never try to break free. My friends in the education ministry, what's the moral of this story? It is the false belief of the elephants that deny their freedom for life or for lifetime. Likewise, many people are not trying to work towards success in their life. And just because they failed once before. So keep on trying and don't get tied up with some false beliefs of failure. You have to work hard for your dreams. This is my first principle as a teacher and as a student.
Hi, Dr. Tess.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, can we request for you to full screen so we can vividly see your presentation?
Yes, I am in full screen now in my desktop, in my laptop.
Okay, I hope it's okay with you if we request for you to unshare and then share it again by clicking Windows instead of desktop.
Okay.
Okay, so while Dr. Tess is fixing the presentation, it's now being projected. I will update you, Dr. Tess, once it's on. I just want to tell our attendees here that they can actually participate by typing their questions in the Q&A should they have questions, and they can also respond like in our Facebook. They can also share their questions. Okay, Dr. Tess, can you check if can
I can
you share
now.
once again? Yeah. Okay, now it's loading here.
Mm. Is it working now?
Okay, can you put it on full screen now?
Let me try again. Is it working? It's now in full screen, Doc Chine. Not yet working?
I think it's still not working. Okay, Ma'am Jen, I think can assist you,
Okay.
and she can present on your behalf.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think you can go on, and Ma'am Jen will assist us in the presentation.
Okay. So let's continue. We are now on the story of the elephant rope. Can we go there, Ma'am Jan? Okay. Hand to handle two different roads, and we started with the hard work, and then the story of the elephant. Next slide. Okay. So there.
Okay, everyone, I think Dr. Tess is trying to reconnect at the moment. So, as you know, Dr. Tess is currently in Quezon Province, and I think everyone is aware that the typhoon is about to land somewhere near that area, or I think actually it's in Quezon Province. And I hope that everyone is safe, and I hope that you are prepared for the upcoming typhoon. So, even if this is happening, I think that this wouldn't stop us from learning, and grab this opportunity also to invite everybody to keep updated, as we will have some more upcoming lectures, and we will also have an international conference upcoming, which I will be sharing again in a moment later. I think we already have Dr. Tess back, and let us now continue hearing about our topic. Hello again, Dr. Tess.
Sorry, is it now good? Sorry for that.
Yes, it's okay. It's okay. It happens.
Okay, so let's go back to the story of the elephant. Okay, so next slide, Mom Jen. So, what's the moral of the story again? Let's go to the next slide, Mom Jen. And, okay, one more. And one more. Okay, what's the moral of the story when it comes to work hard or hard work? So it is the false belief of the elephants that deny their freedom for a lifetime. Likewise, many people are not trying to work towards success in their life just because they failed once before. So keep on trying and don't get tied up with some false beliefs of failure. This is my first principle in life. So to go and pursue your dream, you have to have hard work. Let's go to the next principle. As a teacher, yes, of course, hard work earns success. Next slide, Ma'am Jen. This is my second principle. I need to have consistency as a teacher and as a student. So consistent hard work leads to success, and greatness will come when you are consistent with working hard in your dreams. So consistency is good. Why? We need courage to be consistent and never underestimate the power of consistency. Why is it important? Consistency develops routines and builds momentum. It forms habits. One of let's go to the next slide. One of my favorite leadership guru says that small disciplines repeated with consistency every day leads to great achievement gained slowly over time. So consistency is especially important in education. You might have heard a saying that if you are persistent, you will get it. And if you are consistent, you will keep it. So be consistent with what you want. Hard work, consistency. Jen, next principle. You need to have focus. Your life is controlled by what you focus on. Focus is the state or quality of having or producing clear visual definition. So being focused means that you have clear goals and objectives, and your work is dedicated to achieving those goals. You base your decisions on how you can make the most progress towards your goals with the time and the resources available for you. So focus on what you want. As a teacher and as a student, I focus on my teaching and I focuses on the learnings in the law school. Ma'am Jen, how the power of focus can lead you to success. This is another story. I really love reading stories. Let's go to the next page and let me share again a short story about how to focus on your dreams. So you will get what you want when you stop making excuses on why you don't have it. When you stop making excuses on why you don't have it. This is the story about shooting an arrow. Let's go to the next slide. This is a story about the Zen master who wanted to show his students a new technique of shooting an arrow. He told his students to cover his eyes with a cloth and then he shot his arrow. When he opened his eyes, he saw the target with no arrow in it. And when he looked at his students, they looked embarrassed because their master or their teacher had missed. The Zen master asked them, "What lesson do you think I intend to teach you all today?" They answered, "We thought you should show us how to shoot at the target without looking." The Zen master said, "No, I taught you that if you want to be successful in life, don't forget the target. Don't forget the target. You have to keep an eye on the target. Otherwise, you may miss a good opportunity in life." So they looked at each other and impressed with the lesson. My dear friends in the education ministry, that's the moral of the story. We need to be consistently focused on what we want, and we need to realize therefore our thoughts have a direct effect on our emotions. And what we focus on and we feel will attract our lives. Our destiny is consistently shaped by our thoughts. And challenges are what make life interesting, isn't it? And overcoming them is what makes life meaningful. So, third principle, consistency or focus. So, we have hard work, consistency, and focus. What's my next principle in life as a student and as a teacher? Let's go to the next slide. Desire. I have this 100% desire in my heart to be a lawyer and to be a teacher. Of course, the starting point of all achievement is your desire to achieve your dreams. So desire is the starting point of all achievements, right? And it is a strong feeling of wanting to have something or wishing for something to happen. What do you desire most? What is the desire of your heart? And these desires are your power, your independence, your curiosity, your acceptance, order, saving, honor, and idealism. So you must always have that desire in your heart because these desires are what drive our everyday actions and make us who we are. And make us who we are. Ma'am Jen, what's the key of having this hard work, of having this principle of consistency, of focus, of desire? The key to appreciate these values is to have self-discipline. Self-discipline. What is self-discipline? Let's run to the next slide. Self-discipline is when you are tired as a teacher and as a student and lazy and do not have a single reason to wake up from that cozy bed in the morning and study and work. There comes a small voice from deep inside your heart to let up and push forward. And what is that voice? The voice of discipline. Self-discipline is the ability to do what you should be doing. Self-discipline often means putting off your immediate comfort or wishes in favor of a long-term success. For example, if you want to become physically fit, you might endure the short-term discomfort of 5 a.m. gym times to attain the long-term benefits of being healthy and feeling great. Next slide, Ma'am Chen. Self-discipline is the ability or your ability to get yourself to take action regardless of your emotional state, regardless of the pandemic, regardless of our situation right now. It is your ability to control yourself, and it is your ability, or it is self-discipline, which means that you have to be very determined to achieve the goals you have set. Why self-discipline? Why you should acquire this kind of determination of having self-discipline? Let's have an analogy on this, Ma'am Jen. Self-discipline is like a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger you become. And the less you train it, the weaker you become. So, practice self-discipline as a teacher and as a student. Remember, my dear friends in the education ministry, self-discipline is about character. I am a teacher. I am a student too. How I manage the classroom is just the same as how I manage my life in law school. Law school is very tough. You need self-discipline. Time management is very important in law school. The possession of self-discipline enables me to choose the very important dream in my life, and that is to become a lawyer. It moves me. It gives me fuel to pursue my dream. So it is clear that many people don't know how to increase their self-discipline. This is the secret. This is the secret of tests when it comes to as a teacher and as a student at the same time. My level of self-discipline is 99.9%. Why? Because I have to divide my time. I have to manage my time in school, in my family, and in my teaching profession. According to my professor in law school, train your mind and your body will follow. The quality and the degree of concentration of the thoughts you think shapes your whole life. And according to him, these thoughts would make up a major part of the inner world that you live in. So I have to stay on focus. I must be consistent. I must have focus, and I have to work hard for my dream as a law student, and at the same time work as a teacher. Ma'am Jen, as a teacher, this is what I believe in. Teaching makes you young and beautiful. I am always beautiful despite of the stresses from the law school. Only if you show your passion for it, you will become beautiful as a teacher. Next. As a teacher, I consider myself as the light in the classroom, and I have to keep my lamps lit. I have to uh, use oil for the lamp. Keeping them full of oil means preparing in advance by storing in mind or by storing in my mind knowledge and skills coming from the other things that I do. That's why I attend trainings, I attend webinars, and I read more. I read more every day. Ma'am Jen. As a teacher, I am the spotlight. In the classroom, I am the spotlight. I cannot give light without power, and my power is my oil. The oil is the knowledge. Teacher must shine a light on the abilities of the student, showing them all the potential they have inside. We have to nurture them. Ma'am Chen? So, who dares to teach must never cease to learn. So let us all remember that as a teacher, as an educator. Next slide. As a law student, being a law student is hard work. I need to read and reread the provisions of the law every single day from 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. because I have classes at 7:30 or 7. So I could always prepare for the class recitations of my terror law professors. I need to work hard. I need focus. So I could give my 100% attention to the hundred of cases assigned to us every day. My desire to learn more is what makes me going. It is the fuel why I stay in law school. And my consistency is my power in finishing this law degree. Ma'am Jen. As a law student, well, in law school, pain is temporary. Law degree is forever. And as a law student, I believe only the strongest women become lawyers. Ma'am Jen. I am a law student. I am a law student. And I have this weird self-esteem issue where I hate myself, yet I still think I am better than everybody else. So, my friends, stop making excuses. If you are tired, you sleep earlier. If you are out of shape, you exercise more. If you don't have time, you quit watching TV. I never watch TV. Don't have the money? Stop wasting it. Seems too complicated? Start small and try, just like in business. Don't have the knowledge? Learn and read a book. We all know what we need to do, but most people still don't do it because it's hard to go out of our comfort zone. And it's easier to just make excuses. Ma'am Jen. My dear friends, whatever you want to do it now. There are only so many tomorrows. Thank you for listening and God bless.
Wow, when was the last time I had an inspirational talk to guide me over my decisions? No, I think it was like fourth year in college when I was being oriented, or baka high school pa, yung mga career orientation doctor test. So
this
it's
is
really
career
very
orientation.
refreshing now. It's like a career orientation. So it's like me thinking about what to do next and if I should be doing it. If I should really be doing this plan. Okay, so this at this point, let's have a few minutes for the Q&A. Dr. Tess, you have a question here. What do you think by far is the most challenging aspect of being a teacher and a student at the same time?
I am used to it. No, actually, wala na masyado challenges because I am used to challenges because I really work hard for it. I really focus on what I want. I really have a hard time in teaching in my teaching profession. And I guess there's no more challenges on that because I'm used to it. I am what do you call that? When you are doing that every day, when you are doing that every day, when you have that passion, I think there's no more challenges in teaching. It's just passion.
Okay, so that reminds me so much of this saying, Dr. Tess, that a soldier becomes more in the, I mean, a soldier becomes better or a
Kapag
soldier
maraming sugat,
become stronger the more they become in pain or the more struggles they encounter. So parang ganun ba yun, Dr.
parang ganon,
Tess?
no? Pinatibay ng ano.
Pinatibay ng panahon, pinanday ng panahon. Okay, let's have another question here. Maybe this can be our last. Okay, what
Mm.
is your advice on top of the other advice pieces of advice that you've given? What is your advice to those teachers who had stopped taking their second or maybe third degree or their dream degree just because they found it hard to attend to the demands of their job?
Mm-mm. Just love what you do and the money will follow. Parang nga iksi, no? Love what you do and the money will follow.
Yeah, I think do like doing your best and
Mm-mm.
aiming for your dream would eventually help you find the fortune that you have in life or would really feed your satisfaction. So thank you very much again, Dr. Tess, for sharing not only pieces of advice but also your experiences as teacher and the difficulty of facing terror professors in the graduate school.
Okay, thank
Uh,
you.
So that now I think we can already move to our second speaker. Thank you again, Dr. Tess, for sharing with us how a teacher is without that overcoat as a student. I think we are now set for our second speaker. It is also my pleasure to bring you our speaker who will share with us how teachers are and how teachers can be as managers. Good afternoon, Dr. Arnel.
Good afternoon, Dr. Chini. Can you hear me?
Yes, very clear po.
Yeah, okay, thank you. May I request Miss Jen to flash my PowerPoint?
Okay, it's on now, Dr. Arnel.
Can I proceed now?
Yes, please.
Yeah, okay, thank you so much. I'm sorry I could not see it from my screen, what is being flashed. But anyways, Jen will be assisting me during my presentation. So once again, I would like to greet everyone a pleasant afternoon. And my task this afternoon is to share with you what I understand about the role of teachers as managers. Next slide. I remember hearing from my former teacher that there is so much more to teaching than teaching. Without a doubt, I fully agree with her, and I would further assert that teachers are also managers. Are my slides being flashed?
Yes, Dr. Arnel.
Yeah, can I? Okay, I'll proceed. Next slide, please. Every learning and classroom situation demands a certain degree and level of management skills. which at the end of the day determines whether teachers are effective and efficient based on how they address any management problem in the classroom that actually and truly interfere in the achievement of the learning goals and objectives laid out by them. In fact, classroom management criterion is prominent in the annual evaluation of the teacher's performance report. Several authors offer us descriptions of what management is from the lens of the teachers, like the following. Next slide. Burden and Bird define management as teacher actions to create a learning environment that encourage positive social interaction, active engagement in learning, and self-motivation. Next slide. Krause, Boucher, and Duchenne claim that classroom management is certainly concerned with behavior, but it can also be defined more broadly as involving the planning, organization, and control of learners, the learning process, and the classroom environment to create and maintain an effective learning experience. Based on these two definitions, we can deduce that management is a set of mechanisms in an organization that has something to do with anything that constitutes and relates to a classroom, and this includes, among many, the students, the learning materials, and the prescribed set of behaviors to be observed that will help the teacher facilitate student learning. Next slide. I will anchor my sharing by exploring Henry Fayol's administrative management theory and principles, learning working conditions and areas for effective management in the context of my experiences as an academic manager. Next slide. Who is Henry Fayol and why him? Fayol is widely acknowledged as a founder of modern management who developed his management theory based on his personal experiences as a French mining engineer. I chose him because of his common sense categorizations of the basic elements of management that I believe are still relevant to management and leadership. But most importantly, his pragmatic approach to management is what really endears him in my heart. In his book, General and Industrial Management, he defined what management is, explained the 14 general principles of modern management, and enumerated the managerial functions. Next slide. Fayol summarizes the task of management as to forecast and plan, to organize, to command, to coordinate, and to control. Next slide. In view of the foregoing, Fayol has divided management into 5 essential components. First is planning, second, organizing, third, commanding, fourth, coordinating, and last, controlling. Next slide. First, on planning. Fayol defines planning as the plan of action facilitates the utilization of the firm's resources and the choice of best methods to use for attaining the objective. This is the first stage of the managerial functions. It is already a given that being a teacher and a manager at the same time, I should be guided by a plan of action which constitutes, among others, the needs of my students or the needs of the teachers themselves who are under my supervision, as well as the challenges that I foresee in relation to meeting the objectives and purpose of the department. Generally, planning involves a lot of analysis and evaluation of the current situation and the emerging alternative courses of action. In effect, a teacher manager does a lot of strategic planning and forecasting. Having knowledge and understanding about the students' learning styles and the teachers' teaching styles and their interests could be of help in this planning stage. Both the students and the teachers' individual peculiarities and specializations should be considered in laying down operational and strategic plans in view of the learning, teaching objectives, and purpose. Next slide. Second, on organizing. As a teacher and manager, you start organizing when you start focusing on and aiming at how to achieve the set goals and objectives. Next slide. Fayol distinguished two forms of organization: organization of human resources and organization of material resources. Next slide. This organization is carried out according to Fayol by any of the following: ensuring that the plan is judiciously prepared and strictly carried out, formulating clear, distinct, precise decisions, defining duties clearly, encouraging a liking for initiative and responsibility, having fair and suitable recompense for services rendered, making use of sanctions against faults and errors, seeing to the maintenance of discipline, ensuring that individual interests are subordinated to the general interest, paying special attention to unity of command, supervising both material and human order, and lastly, having everything under control. As a teacher in the classroom, I would delegate some of my functions, especially to the class president, who would assume certain responsibilities to ensure the smooth and efficient implementation of classroom structures such as discipline and order, so that we can have a safe, active, and positive environment where students' learning would thrive. Organization of human resources like this setup encourages cooperation among the students and would often prevent disruptive behaviors. Also, administering instructional materials that contribute to motivating students to active learning and acquisition of skills required of them is an essential component of organizing material resources. I would also employ the same strategy in running the office and in dispensing some of the tasks assigned to me, hence delegating to the staff and to some faculty who possess the requisite skills and expertise to do the job. To say organizing is ensuring that there is a system within the department. Next slide. Third, commanding. The main aim of this function is to direct or supervise the actions of those in the department as well as the processes involved. It is also worth noting that Fayol understands authority as the right to give orders and the power to exact obedience, which is bestowed on the manager because of his moral ascendancy to his subordinates and colleagues. A manager has to be an exemplar of high ethical and moral standards to gain the respect, obedience, and discipline of those people working around him. Likewise, are the teachers who should also set a good example to their students. We have been witnesses to testimonies of how the actions of the teachers have impacted more the lives of their students rather than their words or lectures. Being ethical is no easy thing to do. As a teacher manager, I need to walk my talk in practically every moment of my life, most especially outside the campus, when students and even people I don't know but know me expect me to be the embodiment, or if not, the epitome of moral and ethical values. In fact, they expect no less than seeing me behave the way they want me to behave. Teachers don't have the right to compartmentalize their personal and professional life, unlike maybe the way politicians are allowed to do so in our culture. Admittedly, this is one big challenge, not only for me, but for all teachers who are not managers at the same time. Another thing that I realize as an academic manager is that I need to be very cautious in giving out orders to colleagues, especially those with character deficiency, because I need to deal with them in a professional manner in order not to lose the respect of me. This, to me, is very important, the respect they have for me as a person more than anything else. Being their head is secondary. Giving out orders should not be done in a manner that will give them the impression that you are entitled to your position. One's position as an academic manager should be used to serve others, to be their steward in the true sense of the word, and not simply as a fashionable thing to do. Next slide. Fourth is coordinating. Fayol describes this as the task of the manager to harmonize all the activities and functions of an organization in order to achieve its intended objectives and goals. Or seen from another perspective, this refers to the process of ensuring that people and different sectors and structures of an organization work properly together as one. Next slide. According to Fayol, a well-coordinated organization is characterized by, among others, each department works in harmony with the others. Next slide. In each department, divisions and subdivisions are precisely informed as to their share of the communal task and the reciprocal aid they are to afford one another. Experience tells us that as teachers work in coordination with their colleagues in their department in view of the task assigned them by their immediate head, they do so through a clear communication and proper motivation among those within the organization. Communication in whatever form it takes and a whole recourse of time and tenacity are essential to achieve proper coordination in view of the department's goals. Next slide. As a manager, a teacher should first internally coordinate among the other members within the department and closely work with the various levels of the department to ensure that everything and everyone works well together and is in sync with the department's intended objectives. Second, he should externally coordinate with the other stakeholders outside the school, like the non-government agencies, especially when there would be outreach activities, for example, to charitable institutions that are to be conducted by the students. Other public engagements are covered by this function as well. This function of coordinating is also very important considering that my department is not isolated from the other units of the university. It is a constitutive element in the whole academic operations of the university. One challenging task related to this aspect is that I have to ensure that my department is supportive of the initiatives of the other units whose main thrust is also to enflesh the vision mission of the university by giving quality education to the students. Next slide. And last is controlling. To Fayol, the exercise of control is one of the powers given to a manager. This is all about scrutinizing and making certain that the department's identified objectives and goals are judiciously implemented as planned and is aligned with the management's intent and vision. Controlling here does not denote manipulating or taking advantage of the emotions, perspectives, and values of the students and teachers, or any person for that matter. In the context of management perspective, this means that the manager should ensure that his subordinates continue to work to the attainment of the objectives and goals of the department. As an example, the teacher exercises this when he establishes rubrics as standards of his students' performance in view of the learning objectives. Also, when he sets parameters on the reports and presentations of his students' outputs. Furthermore, when the teacher guides the behavior of his students as part of his corrective measures to prevent their academic underperformance. As a manager, how do I actualize this function? First, there is the task of setting the standards from which I would assess and measure the performance of my department, including that of my staff. Second, after evaluation, there comes the challenge of identifying the possible opportunities for improvement, which at times require corrective actions to be introduced and implemented when necessary. This is most especially true during the period of accreditations when I am impelled and compelled to seriously look into the operations of the department. These 5 functions provide us with the possible management skills that teachers as managers need to assimilate. Next slide. Central to the question, when do teachers become good managers on a day-to-day basis, I have decided to further make use only 4 of Fayol's 14 principles and elements of management, which I consider to be crucial to the way teacher managers flexibly confront situations they daily face. Next slide. Authority and responsibility. I'll only be presenting 4 out of the 14 general principles in view of the time allotted to me. So I am only highlighting which to me are the most significant principles. Number 1, authority and responsibility. Fayol claims that a good manager possesses both formal and informal authority. The former indicating his position, which gives him the power to require obedience from his subordinates, while the latter emanates from his personality and character. Being an authority inside the classroom could be a challenge to teachers who have also the responsibility to help their students attain their fullest potential. Teachers should make sure that rules and procedures in class are applied to all fairly and consistently. Aside from that, as a manager, I have to officially dispense my mandate to assign teaching assignments to my colleagues, and this is no easy task to do considering the number of teachers under the department. I really have to make sure that teachers should toe the line in view of the number of courses that need to be supplied with teachers. Despite being conscious of this responsibility, I have to remind myself 100 times that this should be done not out of instilling fear among my colleagues, but dispensing this with compassion and consideration of their individual circumstances. One consolation that I often get from my students and my colleagues is when they make a comment that because of my personality, I am able to establish an environment where they feel free to make meaningful choices. Next slide. Discipline. Fayol argues that discipline is imperative to achieving an efficient organization through a judicious application of sanctions and penalties through respect to superiors in all hierarchical levels and the mutual observance of organizational rules and agreements. Problems involving management of student behavior has been and would always remain an important concern of any teacher. Again, this is one skill in classroom management that teachers as managers should learn to develop if they want to enhance students' achievement and personal growth and development. Management of students' behavior sometimes determines how effective as a manager a teacher is and how efficient he is in establishing conducive learning environments. The same perspective can be applied when I manage teachers in the department. Management of teachers' behavior and sometimes their propensity to let you feel that they are more superior than you are determines how you are able to preserve unity and collaboration in the department. Next slide. Unity of direction. This is the principle of one head and one plan for a group of activities having the same objective. Despite the fact that there are several divisions in an organization due to the division of work, it is necessary that different departments should only have one head to lead the organization towards achieving its goals and objectives. in order to avoid chaos, and as per Fayol, should it be violated, authority is undermined, discipline is in jeopardy, order disturbed, and stability threatened. This principle, I would say, is not that a challenge to me. Thanks for having colleagues who share the same aspirations and sense of purpose with the administration. When one's colleagues share the same mindsets, share the same culture, share the same value system in terms of how they perceive quality education is to be offered to students, this unity of direction will not be difficult to achieve. What I do is simply to be transparent to them, share with them what is happening within the department, within the university, the difficulties of crafting certain policies, the difficulties of initiating reforms, or maybe the achievements, sharing the achievements of the rest of the faculty. With this, they will be able to identify themselves with the failures and the triumphs of the department, impelling them to unite for a common purpose. Next slide. The last principle I am highlighting is esprit de corps. A good manager creates an atmosphere of teamwork among the members of the organization, leading to an inclusive community persons, if I may say, where everyone is not left out. Given all these, teachers as managers should build and foster a harmonious interrelationship and teamwork among his students and their class in the classroom, notwithstanding their working partnership with their colleagues and other stakeholders in education. As a manager, the teacher can effectively support his students by giving them sufficient opportunities and positive spaces to develop academically by ensuring that their skills are best used during classroom activities and enabling them to grow as productive and empathetic individuals. Next slide. Let me conclude the sharing by saying that the true measure of the effectiveness of teachers as managers rests to a great extent on the teacher's understanding of the basic elements of administrative management competencies and having the appropriate managerial skills to implement them. Next slide. To me personally, being an academic manager makes me more appreciative of the gift of human interaction. Thank you for listening. That's it. Doc Chine, I guess you're in your mute mode.
Yes, Dr. Arnel, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And
I hope I was able to share within the time allotted to me. Thank you.
yeah, do you just have a timer there? Because as in you really did finish and ended in the exact time that was given to you. Truly a manager, Dr. Arnel.
Thank you so
Okay,
much.
so listening to you, really I had here some phrases that truly hit me, like walk the talk, as truly we really have to embody those ethical values in and out of the school. And the principles that you've shared by Fayo were truly enlightening. So did I just make or take a management course in 20 minutes, Dr. Arnel?
Thank
Oh,
you
I
so
will
much.
really,
I just
it will be a
highlighted.
pleasure in your class.
Thank you.
Okay, we have here a few questions. I hope you would you would
We're
have
going
time.
over time.
Okay, I think that kahit ako, I would learn from these questions. Let's have a few. Dr. Ernell, how do you think should we deal with colleagues with belief or actions that oppose those of our school or the management?
Okay. Actually, I have heard this from one top administrator before. When faculty members, when some of my colleagues would start demanding a lot of things and then they would go against the vision mission of the school, this top administrator would simply tell us, if you're not happy with us, then by all means leave the school. No one is forcing you to stay with us. So that is to put it very bluntly. But of course, we do not do it in terms of relating what we want to tell the teachers. I guess it's just a matter of explaining to these people the rationale behind, and then all the, I mean, you have to be very transparent to them, because most often than not, they would only see their perspective without seeing the perspective of the administration. So I guess a dialogue would really is in need, and would really be required, so that you can manage these kind of tendencies among your colleagues. And it's no joke. It's no joke, Doc Chini, because it takes a lot of skills in terms of persuasion, in terms of interrelationship, and it all boils down to the personality of the manager, for that matter, to settle those quote unquote differences in
So
terms of
good
perspective.
communication is like a prerequisite to becoming a manager. Ano po?
Correct. That's why, Doc Chini, let me add, you don't need to be the most intellectual person to become an administrator or a manager. It is really in terms of your charisma, of your personality, because you are dealing with people, and people are not objects or things that you can manipulate. It's easy on your part to simply impose, but at the end of the day, you would be asking yourself, have I shown kindness in the dispensation of my work, of my job? After all, titles, positions are ephemeral. They don't make a person.
So it's more of making a person rather than breaking the person. Ano,
Correct.
right, Doc Arnel? Okay, I
Correct.
think we can end with this one last question,
Sure.
parang to heighten the energy. So based on your experience, Dr. Arnel, what is the most rewarding aspect of managing an organization?
I would always tell my students, no, whenever I would have class, towards the end of my class, I would always tell my students that when they graduate 4 years from now, and when they start looking back at the portals of FEU, they could sincerely and with all honesty tell themselves that because of in that school, I have become a better person. So I guess they will forget what you have taught them, but they will never forget the kindness that you have shown them, and how they have become a good person because of your influence in their life. So I guess as we dispense our role as managers, academic managers, we should never lose sight of the fact that first and foremost, we are persons with heart, with a compassionate heart, maybe. Yeah.
Confidently beautiful with a heart, Dr. Arnel.
Yes.
Okay, so to our participants, thank you very much.
Thank you so
And to, I think Dr. Arnel can also, and even Dr. Tess can answer some of your queries if ever. Maybe we can also encourage them to drop by our Facebook page, so that they can see if ever some of our participants have questions or pending questions. Thank you again, Dr. Arnel.
Thank you, Dr. Chini.
Okay, so listening to our speakers this afternoon, we would have taken some of these key phrases or keywords such as hard work, dedication, respect, ethics, compassion, and discipline. These are only a few of the many aspects that we have to imbibe as we juggle our roles as teachers, students, and managers. Thank you once again, Dr. Marites Regalia and Dr. Arnel Bravo, for the theory and experience based pieces of advice that you have shared with us. We hope that we are able to inspire our teachers and our aspiring educators. Anyway, this lecture series is dedicated for them. So happy Teachers Month. So to our audience here on Teams Live and to our viewers on Facebook, thank you for joining us this afternoon. To our participants, please have the evaluation filled out, and we thank you for participating. And also, as we conclude this event, we would like to thank our staff in the IE, Ma'am MJ, Ma'am Jen for assisting us this afternoon, and also to Sir Jay for always being with us, and our Dean. And special tribute goes to Sir Christian, who manages our Facebook Live. Thank you for always being with us and partnering with us in having this online lecture series. So I also would like to take this opportunity to invite everyone to join the upcoming international conference, ICOM 2020, to be facilitated by three big departments of Far Eastern University. Later, you will see the invitation publication material. Now, so the Institute of Education, Department of Graduate Studies, and Transnational Education, thank you once again for being with us on this 8th graduate online lecture series, Goes on Education Specials. I am Chini, and God bless you all at Mabuhay Tamaraws.